One of the beautiful things about having those materials is you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You sit in your lovely home, sit in your chair, lay in your bed, put the headset on, pick up the book, and just go to another world. You know? Give yourself permission to let go and just be in that beautiful feeling and just listen. Right? You could read what everybody says about the principles for 1,000 years and never understand. You could listen to one sentence from that place and understand everything. Listening is literally the portal to a new reality. Listening to that beautiful feeling, listening to what's coming out of those materials is the portal to your true reality, who and what you really are. So sometimes when we listen, if we're really lucky, this magical thing occurs. We're the world that we've been creating moment to moment and continue to create moment to moment through our experience, our living, our thoughts. Just for a split second stops. And we go home. And you could consider everything in your life from every way possible and not have anything close to what you see about your life when you're home. You see a completely different world. We try to be compassionate in our lives. We try to have understanding in our lives. I know we all want that. We try to give love and receive love in our lives. We all want that. But in that magic moment when we're quiet, when we've been listening at that deep level, and I'm not talking about listening to anything in particular. My preference is Sid's materials, but even now, or walking down the street, that listening without the noise, that listening that takes you inside of all of that thinking, that listening that takes you home. It's the portal to that moment when the world stops, just for that split second. And I'm pretty sure everybody in this room has experienced that. And when you do, all you have to do is live. All you have to do is enjoy your life. And as a matter of fact, the best thing to do when you have insight is to look to the most ordinary part of your life. I mean, literally, to washing the dishes, washing the car, walking the dog, holding hands with your partner, whatever it is. Because what we're looking for isn't out there in this big world. What we're looking for isn't going to be told to us by anybody else we encounter in this life. It's not possible. What we're looking for resides in that moment when the world stops. In those tiny, quiet, beautiful seconds, we're in the oneness. In those beautiful, quiet moments, we're home. It's like even talking now, when we just consider that, all of our individual personalities and stuff just kind of melt away. And we experience what we really are. We're attached to this oneness, to this beautiful, beautiful oneness. We are one. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but when we feel that oneness, we have no choice but to realize that we're looking at the unknown. Right? It's the opposite of the known. We're looking at the unknown. And the unknown is where all the goodies are. You know? The unknown always, 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 always is going to be more beautiful than the known. Right? When we look at the unknown, what we're looking at is endless, endless possibility. And there's no amount of things we can do in the physical world to bring ourselves there. There's no amount of thinking that can get you there. There's no activity that can get you there. The only thing that can get you there is you listening to yourself, me listening to myself, and having that moment when the world goes quiet. Never underestimate that. Never underestimate that. Because when you see it, you can never overestimate what will happen in your life. You know, because you have the whole world then. And just while I'm talking now and looking at all your faces, it's like you just get to feel this amazing feeling of love. There's knowledge and there's true knowledge. All of us have got tons of knowledge. But true knowledge is something altogether different. And it comes from inside. It comes from a place you already, it comes from, it is you. It is you. And everybody here who's had an insight knows what I mean, that true knowledge is totally, totally, totally unique and out of this world. You know? You could take the most complicated situation in your life, the biggest issue you think you have, and you could look at it in a million ways, right? And you might find some improvement along the margins. But if you have the experience of looking back at your life from that beautiful, quiet state, you just see it totally differently. And you all have experienced that, I know. You see a whole new world. So Sid used to say to us, if you want to help people, you can help them a little bit, you know, with what's going on in their lives, but if you really want to help them, show them a whole new world. And they'll help themselves. And the beautiful thing about that is you can't do that without doing it yourself. The only authority, honestly, that any of us has to share the principles is what you've seen yourself, your own story. And it's so powerful. We always think, well, that little story, you know, or I had this change in my marriage, you know, it's a little thing. But honestly, people haven't seen that before. They haven't seen that ability for the world to just flip. They haven't seen that ability for the world they think is concrete and made of cement and real, and they're up against it. People in the world have not experienced that, just going bang, and you're seeing another world altogether. And when people see that, as you know, that's what the term understanding means. You know, they understand. They understand in exquisite simplicity what's created their lives, what's created their experience. Jan and I worked in the prison system in Florida. We were at a women's prison. And we'd done about 2 or 3 classes, you know, and just started, at that point, we hadn't even really started talking about the principles yet. We were just talking about our experience of meeting Sid, and, you know, we were quite a mess when we met Sid, and our marriage was pretty much over, and just in a matter of weeks, it was all gone, right? So we're just explaining that to these women in the prison, and just talking about the idea that their true self couldn't possibly be broken because it's not of this world, you know. And you can see puzzlement, but you could also see that they were really intrigued by the idea that they had something healthy within them, something that wasn't broken. They were intrigued by that. And about the third class in, this woman spoke up and started talking about she'd gone to bed after a regular day in the prison in the exercise yard and lining up for food, and she laid down in her bunk in her cell. And she said in the middle of the night she sat bolt upright in her bed and began to weep because she saw that she was okay. She saw that she had just created this world that she was living in. She saw a glimpse of who and what she really was. She was seeing. Right? And seeing is a totally different thing from thinking. No matter how lofty your thoughts are, seeing is a much deeper thing than thinking.